everyone, welcome back to my workbench. My office is looking a little messy today. Anyway, something a little different today. Tiger Learning Computer. Good news is this is the new breakout card here, and this is actually working pretty. It's not freaking out the learning computer, which is a big thing. So I can actually put it all out and we can freak out. See, it still works. Okay, so this is the. Check this away a minute. So I got a couple things I need to do first, because this is the new breakout board that's not freaking out the learning computer. As you can see, shrink the capture window. This is the new breakout board. Kind of nifty, actually. So, I milled the. Let's see if I can show you this. Everything's been milled down pretty nicely. It's all made on CNC with a little handwork, but not too much. I created this really thin headers coming off of here. So what I need to do now is I tried plugging the card adapter directly into this, and it's just not enough interference fit, so it's just falling out. So anyway, I am designing that now. I'll probably end up cutting that tonight or tomorrow on the CNC. In the meantime, I wanted something to show the kids, the youth of today. Alright, so I went to a local thrift store they hadn't been to before, and they had this for $5. This is a realistic, aka Radio Shack amplifier in a lovely wooden case with this kind of like bronze looking. It's actually quite attractive. So the reason I did pick this up is it's a 25 watt amplifier, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's plenty. Old Radio Shack logo I'm not really familiar with. The nice thing about it does have headphone out, tone, balance, volume, and you see here tape selector tuner. So the nice thing about it on the back side, turn this over so you can see it. On the back side, this switch here is this is your phono switch. It's either magnetic or ceramic. So what that means is when you are all your cheap players, well, most players now have a built-in amplifier, but this is when they didn't. Your better ones always have the magnetic pickups. The cheap ones have the ceramic. If you see like a Crossley Cruiser, they have a ceramic pickup on there. My Audio Technicas all have magnetic pickups, and they do have a built-in amp, but you're turning amp off. So I wanted to try this little guy out. So phono level is very low compared to line level. So your tape and your tuner will both be at line level. And there's a tape out, which is a line level out, and then you have an amplifier, 25 watt, will go to your 8 ohm speakers. So luckily, the floor down there, that bar there is a sound bar, which is actually just a speaker bar that plugs into an amp. So I'm going to use that. You can see this is a 25 watt amplifier, custom manufactured in Korea. Made by Samsung or Lucky or Gold Star. Caution: to prevent electric shock, do not remove cover. No user service while parts inside. Before service. Team qualified service personnel. Well, before I turn this on, I'm going to ignore that and take a look at the electrolytic caps. Oh, because those suckers dry out, and I want to see what they have inside. It's probably electrolytics and not ceramics, and I can always swap those out. Oh, I did want to show you one thing, and that is, if you ever see this type of audio cable, kind of interesting actually. If you see this type of audio cable here, it has this forked terminal here. That actually goes right here. There's a phonograph ground. The reason you have a phonograph ground is you'll get the ground hum off of your amplifier, and it's really annoying. And in the back of your record player, which I do have a record player over here, it's a little bit out of view, because there is a record player over here. Let's see. Our record player is right there underneath the junk right there. There's a controller on top of there right now, but there's a record player there. And that's what we're using to try this out. Tilt it up too much. Okay. So on the back of there's also another ground. So you want a continuous ground. So if you ever see these audio cables, these are meant for record players. And you do need to use the ground wire. Let's take a look at this. What's inside? I love this wood case. It's plywood with a veneer. It's like a walnut finish. It doesn't really come through that great on the video, but it's actually like a walnut finish. Very nice. Let's see how you open this thing. Let's start here. These might just be feet. These might, see how short they are. They look like they might just be feet, but you never know. Yes, they are. Oh, no, they actually did something. Alright, so this case just pulls straight back. Alright. Oh, behold, 1970s electronics. It's all solid state because these are actually your amplifiers back here. Use NECs. Nippon Electric Company. So that's a good sign. They've got decent sized heat sinks on the. There's a couple transistors. It's usually you have 4 stages. I'm going to nerd out here a second. So, first, second, third, fourth. Yeah, 4 stages. Yeah, usually they're a 4-stage amplifier. And indeed this is. And the good news is the caps do not look burst. Oh, they're made in Japan. They're all Japanese made caps. Very nice. There I have all Japanese made caps, which is a good sign. Very clean, very nice. Very cleanly made, actually. Good solder work. I'm almost tempted just to plug this in because if these caps had failed, they would actually be bubbled up on top. Oh, well, we can always try it. Let me pause this a second. Okay, so I was trying to figure out what copyright claim I wanted to battle today, but this is Miles Davis, Kinda Blue. The only issue I'm seeing is I have to open up and hit those audio taper pots with a little bit of deoxit, but other than that, I mean, the tone is beautiful. Let's see. Nice. Hear just a little crackling on there. when you change the volume, but the tone and balance work just fine. Hit those a little bit. Left, right, yeah. It's weird, I haven't seen this before. The controls are actually center, center, center. Point to the right is the midway. Works beautifully. Look at that. Yeah, that's really good actually. That's off my cheap record player too. So let's open her up again and find my deoxit. So back over Workbench. Yeah, let's open her back up. I also want to figure out how to clean some of the gunk off the front too. Yeah, works remarkably well though. Even with the lav mic, I'm sure it sounded just fine. Sure good enough that YouTube will flag it. Oh well. Tone is not too big of a deal. Let's see if we can get in here. I'll let this all completely dry out before turn it back on again. And let's see, how do we clean this stuff? Let's try with alcohol first. Inconspicuous spot on the bottom here. There we go. It just goes to show you that audio technology has not changed all that much in the last 50, 60 years or so. Like a record player from their 70s is going to sound basically the same as a record player now. This is a nice solid state amplifier. I have a tube amp too, but this is a nice solid state. I'm not planning to drive gigantic speakers anyway, so solid state does have some advantages of being a lot more durable than tubes. Tubes, there's a grid that gets heated up in there, and that grid gets quite hot and uses a bit of power, and it is sensitive to shocks, so which is why most stuff is solid state unless you really need a lot of power. I got most of the gunk off. Just give a little love, just so it's yeah. It is so weird how the controls are mid, pointing to the right, not up. Alright. I'm gonna let this dry out. And when that's all dried out, I'll take a little bit of wood polish to the case. The knobs and everything are looking pretty clean now too. Let me push those down just so I can clean Everything's looking pretty clean and nice. Nice realistic. This is an SA-101. So I had a newer version of this back in the day. Gonna let the case to stay open and dry out. I did have a newer version of this many years ago, but it had a plastic housing, but almost identical features to this. It was all plastic knobs, plastic front, none of this metal stuff in it. I can't remember the model number of that one, but this must be just the older version of it. So I think I'll just take a little bit of wood polish to this, just to, the wood's looking a little bit dry. Once that's all dried up, hey, I got a new amplifier, and I'll play a little more. And everyone, thanks for watching.